The room is a testament to a brutal conflict, with still figures scattered across the floor. A young man pants heavily, the exertion and shock of the event etched on his face. He struggles to recall the specific details surrounding the day he met his end. A sudden flashback shows him being seized by dark, sinister tendrils. He remembers frantically running through a scene of utter chaos as the appendages erupted around him. Back in the present, his hand decisively closes around a discarded firearm. He swiftly turns, preparing to confront whatever is still lurking in the shadows. With a grimace of determination, he pulls the trigger and fires at his target. His fragmented memory can only conjure images of a monster and an angel. A volley of shots impacts the shadowy creature, creating a series of bright flashes. His memory flashes back to what should have been just another ordinary day at the office. But that normalcy was shattered when a monstrous tendril fatally struck him down. He recalls the bitter irony of his mundane life meeting such an extraordinary end. The shock and agony of the final blow are seared into his mind. He remembers trembling, clutching the ghastly wound that sealed his fate. As he lay helpless, a command was given and a swift blade moved to strike. The angelic figure from his memory appears, a red-haired warrior in brilliant golden armor. She unleashes a furious barrage of slashes, carving through the dark appendages with ease. In an instant, the creature is reduced to severed pieces around the fallen man. The warrior looks down, realizing she arrived just moments too late to save him. His hand trembles, desperately trying to hold himself together at the sight of the fatal blow. Slumped against the lockers, he gasps for his final breaths, the life draining from him. With a final ragged wheeze, he accepts the cold reality that his time is up. The angelic warrior lands gracefully on the scene, a beacon of light in the grim aftermath. She steps forward with purpose, her golden armor radiating an otherworldly power. Kneeling beside him, she is the last person he sees, the one who changed his fate. He recognizes her as the mysterious angel who had just crashed into his world. A warm light glows from her hand as she assures him that his sacrifice saved the others. But her face is etched with regret as she confesses her inability to save him. He manages a faint, bloodied smile, content that he finally became the hero he always wished to be. The Valkyrie firmly takes his hand, refusing to let him go just yet. With his last ounces of strength, he asks for the name of his mysterious savior. She introduces herself as Raylina, a legendary Valkyrie of the Dawn. Raylina grips his hand, offering both a solemn apology and her deepest gratitude. She assures him that his final heroic act was enough to save their entire world. His life as a normal man ends, reborn as an unknown hero in the annals of history. But in the void, a crimson core shatters, signaling that his story is far from over. He finds himself reborn, standing defiantly before a terrifying legion of monsters. Now armed with a formidable spear, he channels a new, immense power. An armored beast lets out a ferocious cry, lunging forward to test his newfound might. He effortlessly skewers the beast, a fiery display of his newfound power. But the first kill is just a warm-up, as a colossal maw erupts from the ground before him. A wicked grin spreads across his face, his eyes glowing with a thirst for battle. Without a hint of fear, he charges headfirst into the endless legion of darkness. His destiny is no longer tied to his old life, but to a brand new world. Suddenly, his consciousness awakens in a vast, empty expanse of stars. He finds himself back in his old clothes, feeling emotionally hollow despite just having died. He struggles to grasp his memories, which now feel distant and foggy. The images of the monster and the angelic warrior are all that remain clear in his mind. He looks around the cosmic void, wondering if this strange, silent place is the afterlife. He calls out into the emptiness, sensing he's not alone in the cosmic expanse. A disembodied voice ripples through the void, addressing him simply as human. A colossal, hooded figure emerges from the darkness, revealing that he possesses something it wants. Stunned by the being's immense size, he demands to know its identity and his current location. The entity introduces itself as the Void, explaining his soul was shattered and brought to this final realm. It reveals that just enough of his soul was recovered for them to piece him back together. A blue flame, the essence of his reformed soul, ignites in his hand as he offers a dry thanks. He stares at the ethereal flame, confessing that this new existence has left him completely numb. The Void declares it has no need for gratitude, only for the seal he now holds. Confused, he denies any knowledge of a seal, questioning the entity's true motive. The Void reveals a seal bonded with his soul at the moment of his death, instructing him to access it. Skeptical, he internally scoffs at the vague command to reach into his own soul. Deciding not to anger the cosmic being, he takes a breath and prepares to attempt the impossible. As he concentrates, a brilliant blue light shines from his chest, surprising him. A system window materializes, welcoming the now identified Noah Brown to the astral system. Noah stares in disbelief at the holographic screen, amazed that his attempt actually succeeded. Reading the details, he learns the seal is a source of infinite potential fused directly to his soul. The colossal entity recoils, realizing the fusion makes separating the seal a near impossible task. Noah smirks at the entity's predicament, but the void reveals it has one final solution. The entity offers him a dark pact, become its vessel and wield unimaginable power as its rebirth. The entity offers him a new life in exchange for becoming the path for its ever-growing hunger. Unfazed, Noah coolly inquires about the consequences of refusing this grand proposal. The void gives him a grim ultimatum, threatening to forcibly take his soul if he declines. It elaborates that his soul would be consumed just to extract the power of the seal within. A wry smile crosses Noah's face as he realizes the illusion of choice he's been given. He sarcastically pushes back, cheekily asking if he's entitled to legal counsel for this cosmic deal. The entity dismisses mortal rules, explaining the pact is bound only by the power of their spirits. Noah shrewdly points out the inherent imbalance, questioning the trustworthiness of such a one-sided agreement. The void bluntly confirms his distrust is warranted, just as a system window appears with the official offer. He feels his humanity slipping away, the memory of what it means to be alive fading into the cosmic dust. He clenches his fist, deciding that a soul pact with a swirling void entity is a fundamentally bad idea. Noah boldly challenges the cosmic being, questioning why a god would need permission unless it was unable to take the seal by force. The entity finds his defiance intriguing, labeling him a uniquely perplexing soul. Done with the negotiations, the void unleashes shadowy tendrils that surge through the cosmic expanse. The dark appendages instantly wrap around Noah, binding him completely. A tendril tightens around his neck, violently silencing his protests. The void declares his choice unacceptable, its glowing eyes radiating immense, unforgiving power. Suspended and helpless, Noah struggles against the entity's overwhelming grip. The being offers a grim new deal: serve as its puppet, or it will simply harvest the seal from his dead soul. A new system window appears, framing the coercive ultimatum as a formal pact. With a snarl of pure defiance, Noah utterly rejects the entity's coercive offer. The system mocks his free will, presenting a new pact with two identical yes options. The void warns that his spirit is fracturing under its immense power and his time is short. It tries to tempt him with the promise of becoming a god among mortals, worshipped by all. Even as the tendrils tighten, he grits his teeth and vows never to bow to a monster. His unwavering resolve piques the entity's interest, prompting it to ask for his terms. The tendrils release him, and the cosmic being impatiently demands he state his price. Catching his breath, Noah cleverly latches onto the entity's earlier words about spirit strength. He boldly flips the script, proposing a new pact where his spirit holds control in exchange for his cooperation. The void scoffs at his proposal, questioning why it should bargain when it could simply destroy him. Noah smirks, confidently explaining the entity should bargain for the same reason it hasn't already destroyed him. The cosmic being concedes with an amused grin, impressed that a mortal has successfully outmaneuvered it. A system window confirms their dangerous pact as a powerful transformation begins to overwhelm Noah. As he's consumed by the vortex, the void declares that its very essence is now bound to his spirit. The system announces his rebirth is complete, and the entity eagerly awaits to see what he'll do with this power. His hand breaks the surface of a swirling purple abyss, signaling his dramatic emergence. A system notification confirms his arrival in a new world called Arendir, summoned by an unknown call. He materializes in a grand, ominous hall where robed figures chant for the great being of the abyss. His hand firmly plants on the glowing summoning circle as he fully arrives in this strange new realm. Disoriented, he sits up and surveys his surroundings, trying to get his bearings in the bizarre chamber. A robed cultist recoils in shock, stunned that their summoned being is sentient. The other cultists murmur in fear, wondering if this is some kind of divine test. As the cult continues its prostration, a hulking warrior drags a tribute toward the altar. The offering is revealed to be a bound woman, presented as a sacrifice to their new god. The warrior formally offers the woman's life to a bewildered Noah, who can only stare in disbelief. Noah's confusion quickly turns to horror and disgust at the unfolding ritual. The executioner unsheathes his massive blade, preparing to carry out the grim offering. He raises his sword high above the helpless captive, ready to strike the final blow. Noah's mind races, desperately searching for any information he can use to understand and survive this madness. Suddenly, a system window materializes with a new quest, giving him one simple, urgent command: run. He stares in disbelief at the system menu, refusing to accept the quest's command. The system clarifies its urgent message, offering a map feature as a reward for escaping. Scrambling to his feet, he can't believe the system's only advice is to run. He realizes the cultists have mistaken him for some powerful ancient being they summoned. Deciding to play the part, he demands answers from the terrified cultists. A trembling cultist reveals they are in a realm called Arendir and have summoned him for a favor. He puts on a theatrical display of divine anger, questioning why they dared disturb his slumber. His terrible acting is surprisingly effective, sending the robed figures into a state of panic. Internally, he scrambles for a plan, knowing he needs more information to survive. The system reveals a new perk, an identify skill that might just be the key he needs. He focuses his gaze, determined to use his new skill to see who these people really are. The system identifies the cultist, the executioner, and the captive, who he realizes might be his key to escape. A wicked grin spreads across his face as he hatches a plan, needing a distraction to pull it off. He opens his system inventory, revealing a single mysterious scroll waiting for him. Reaching into the holographic screen, he physically pulls the scroll out into the real world. Noah is surprised by the ease of it all, while a nearby cultist marvels at his supposed teleportation magic. Unfurling the scroll, he finds a bizarre welcome letter, which the cultists mistake for a divine text. Seizing the opportunity, he holds the scroll aloft and issues his first divine decree to the stunned crowd. The robed figures murmur in confusion, shocked that their god wants the sacrifice to be his servant. With a menacing glare, he challenges their hesitation, asking if they dare to refuse his command. The cultists panic, as their traditions dictate a blood sacrifice is necessary for any pact. Noah confidently strides forward, raising a hand to silence their protests. He approaches the captive woman, placing a hand on her shoulder as he prepares to enact his plan. Leaning in close, he secretly instructs her to play along and pretend she's under his control. He gives her a simple set of instructions for a theatrical performance to fool their captors. He dramatically lifts the woman, loudly proclaiming to the cult that she is now his vessel to command. The void entity, watching from within, furiously questions his reckless and unexpected actions. Noah's bravado falters for a moment as he realizes the cult's leadership is watching his every move. Realizing his bluff might be called, he quickly grabs the woman again, his internal panic rising. While one cultist marvels at the enslavement, the cult chief furiously declares that their summoned being is just a human. The cult chief roars with fury, his glowing eyes signaling the order to capture the imposter. As Noah is tackled, the system announces his escape quest has failed, replaced by a grim new mission: fight or die. Thrown violently across the stone floor, he sees a golden key clatter loose from the captive's bindings. Unleashing a brutal flurry of blows, Noah relentlessly strikes the hulking executioner. The once mighty warrior now lies trembling on the ground, his strength completely broken. He abruptly stops his assault, his attention captured by the gleaming key on the altar steps. Scrambling forward, he desperately reaches for the key, his only hope for turning the tables. With the key in hand, he prepares to throw it to the captive, urging her to break free. He hurls the key towards the woman, narrowly dodging a swift, vengeful strike from the recovering executioner. Spinning around, Noah faces his armed opponent, bracing himself for the deadly confrontation to come. The enraged executioner charges forward, his massive sword poised to cleave Noah in two. But just as the blade descends, shadowy tendrils erupt from Noah's back to block the attack. The void's power surges through him, and a confident grin replaces his initial shock. Despite the intervention, the warrior's blade still finds its mark, slicing deep into Noah's shoulder. He stares in disbelief as a system notification confirms a massive drop in his health. The executioner brutally rips his sword free, sending Noah staggering backward from the impact. Lying wounded on the floor, he watches helplessly as the warrior prepares to deliver the final blow. But as the sword falls, Noah's hand ignites with a strange, fiery power. The executioner is suddenly engulfed in a torrent of flames, his attack halted by pure agony. Noah watches with wide eyes, just as surprised as anyone by his own destructive capabilities. The captive woman, now free, steps forward as the executioner sizzles in the background. Her hands ignite with fiery power as she prepares to face the charging cultists. She unleashes a sweeping arc of flames, clearing a path through her attackers. Standing defiantly, she becomes the calm center of a fiery storm of her own making. The woman unleashes a massive vortex of fire, sending the remaining cultists flying. Enraged by his followers' incompetence, the cult chief decides to intervene personally. The chief dashes past a wounded Noah, completely focused on his new, more powerful target. A system notification flashes, warning Noah that his health is now at a critical level. Despite his injuries, Noah forces himself up and grabs the fallen executioner's sword. Just as the chief attacks, Noah drives the blade into his back, aided by the power of the void. The cult chief collapses to the stone floor, the borrowed blade having found its mark. A flurry of system notifications confirms his victory and the completion of a secret objective. His health bar flashes a dire warning, showing only 7% remaining. The chief hits the ground with a final thud, his reign of terror brought to an abrupt end. The system highlights his success, revealing he not only won but also freed the captive, Aurelia Fauster. Noah stares in confusion, trying to process the sudden influx of information from the system. His strength finally gives out and he falls to his knees as his health drops to a critical 6%. He collapses completely, the life draining from him as the last of his enemies falls nearby. He grimaces at the bitter irony of surviving one death only to face another immediately. His consciousness drifts into a familiar cosmic void where the system presents him with a life-altering choice. The system announces the start of his awakening process and his transport to a new astral space. He awakens to a blurry, unfamiliar sight, wondering where he has been taken this time. His vision clears, revealing he's inside a claw machine in what appears to be an arcade. Standing amidst the flashing lights, he reflects on how long it's been since he's been in such a place. A mysterious voice cuts through his thoughts, acknowledging his long-awaited arrival. He turns to see a man in glasses named Dylan calmly waiting for him behind a prize counter. Dylan offers a casual wave, as if greeting an old friend in this bizarre setting. Noah immediately glares, demanding to know the man's identity and the nature of this strange place. He voices his suspicion, accusing the man of being another cosmic entity trying to manipulate him. The man, Dylan, calmly asks him to slow down, promising to explain everything. The man introduces himself as Dylan, revealing his lack of a last name is Noah's own subconscious doing. Noah scoffs at the bizarre explanation, just as Dylan confirms his initial suspicion. Dylan reveals he is a representative from the Void, here to uphold their pact. He clarifies that his presence in this astral space is a reluctant consequence of their deal. Noah approaches an old arcade cabinet, trying to make sense of his new reality. Grabbing the joystick, he questions if this entire arcade is his astral script. The machine whirs to life, its screen flashing brightly as he activates it. A system message offers him a choice of 3 paths for his awakening, leaving him to wonder what an astral script is. Dylan impatiently explains that the astral script is a magical manifestation of Noah's own soul. He gestures around the room, stating this arcade is the familiar form his soul has chosen for its astral space. A nostalgic smile crosses Noah's face as he recognizes the arcade from his youth. Still gripping the joystick, he questions his purpose in this strange, game-like space. Dylan steps forward, explaining that while this isn't his usual role, Noah's situation is an exception. He gives a simple instruction, telling Noah to press the start button to begin the process. The machine's screen flashes, welcoming him to Astral Fighter and noting an anomaly is integrating his past life. A character selection screen appears, prompting Dylan to explain the 4 core attributes that will define Noah's power. Standing beside him, Dylan clarifies that choosing a path will enhance these attributes and make him stronger. Dylan warns that while better paths offer bigger boosts, they might also limit his long-term growth. The system displays the Warrior class, a standard path offering a simple attribute point per level. Noah scrolls through the other basic options, finding them all to be similar starting points for his new journey. Dylan suggests they check other machines for better options, and Noah agrees, unimpressed with the current choices. The Void's representative points to a new cabinet, recommending a healing-focused path for Noah's survival. Noah steps up to the new machine and presses a button to see what it offers. A list of healing classes appears, making Noah wonder if this choice will mend his fatal wounds. Dylan shatters his hope, revealing that time is merely slowed and he'll return to the brink of death. His attention is suddenly drawn to a far more intriguing and ominous-sounding class option. The system reveals a rare Exsanguinator class, a path that weaponizes the very essence of defeated foes. Dylan confirms it's a viable path for both healing and harming, which gets a nod of approval from Noah. With 2 more machines left to explore, Noah's determination to find the perfect path grows. While Dylan looks on pensively, Noah seems to be enjoying the process of building his new self. Dylan points to the 3rd machine, confidently recommending the paths it contains. He scoffs at the Void's Herald path, refusing to become a puppet and preferring tactical control. He moves to the final machine, thoughtfully weighing his options as Dylan looks on. An Astral Walker path appears, an epic class focused on interdimensional travel and mystic power. He then discovers the Void Hunter path, a class that weaponizes his natural instincts and void affinity. Ignoring Dylan's exasperated sigh, Noah decides to combine all 3 high-tier paths for his awakening. With his decision made, he firmly grips the joystick and presses the start button to lock in his choice. He flinches as a sudden surge of energy erupts from the machine, signaling the start of the process. The arcade screen flickers into static as shadowy tendrils begin to ooze into the room. The dark essence coalesces into a menacing shape on the screen before surging forward to envelop his hands. The tendrils violently seize Noah, yanking him toward the machine as he struggles against their grip. Dylan smirks, casually mentioning a crucial detail he conveniently forgot to share. A swirling vortex of dark energy materializes before Noah, pulling him into its chaotic depths. The Void's representative reveals the awakening process is designed to be an agonizing ordeal. Bound and helpless, Noah is dragged into the abyss, cursing Dylan for his betrayal. System notifications confirm his awakening of all 3 paths, unlocking a trio of powerful new abilities. His rank officially increases to F as his new classes gain their first few levels. The system grants him a significant boost to his core attributes and a handful of points to allocate. His consciousness snaps back to his body, finding himself still on the verge of death in the cult's chamber. Trembling from his wounds, he forces himself up from the ground, ready to face his grim reality. A system notification confirms his new exsanguinator ability, Blood Drain. He activates the skill, drawing life force from the fallen to rapidly regenerate his health. The fatal wound on his chest begins to seal as he flips himself upright. But the last cultist, Victrell, unleashes his own dark power, preparing for a final confrontation. A shadowy tendril lashes out, striking Aurelia with brutal force. She stands defiant, facing down the cultist as he manipulates the dark appendages. With her own power still simmering, she prepares to re-engage the final enemy. The system issues a new quest, formally tasking him with exterminating the cult's leader. It follows up with a sarcastic optional objective, try not to die this time. Before they can act, the cultist traps Aurelia in a swirling vortex of dark energy. A shadowy tendril lashes out, aiming to strike Aurelia down. With a defiant glare, Aurelia raises her arm and blocks the dark appendage. Her fist ignites with a furious blaze, channeling her own fiery power. She unleashes a torrent of flames, her entire body becoming a weapon. Aurelia charges forward, dodging a barrage of dark attacks from the floating cultist. The cultist cackles with glee as Aurelia prepares to meet his dark magic with her own fiery resolve. Their powers collide in a massive explosion, just as Noah receives his updated quest. Lying on the floor, Noah examines his system screen, wondering how to best use his newfound power. His status window reveals his new classes and a fresh batch of attribute points ready for allocation. He immediately begins strategizing, debating whether to specialize or create a more balanced build. With a confident smirk, he strategically allocates his new attribute points, prioritizing agility and constitution. The system confirms his new, more balanced stats and a significant boost to his maximum mana. Meanwhile, the fiery battle between Aurelia and the final cultist continues to escalate. The cultist's dark magic sends Aurelia flying, but she lands with practiced ease, unfazed. She retaliates by slamming her fist into the ground, unleashing a devastating shockwave of fire. The sheer force of her attack shatters the stone floor, demonstrating her immense strength. The cultist's face contorts with rage, stunned by the ferocity of her counterattack. Aurelia telekinetically hurls the broken slabs of stone directly at her airborne opponent. The cultist swiftly evades the barrage of projectiles, weaving through the deadly assault. Their powers collide once more in a cataclysmic explosion of fire and shadow. Amidst the chaos, Noah spots the executioner's fallen sword and decides to claim it for himself. He opens his system inventory, preparing to store his newly acquired weapon. With the sword safely stashed away, he forces himself to stand, ready to rejoin the fight. Noah glances over, his expression hardening as he assesses the escalating battle. He rushes forward as Aurelia is violently thrown back by the cultist's dark magic. His eyes lock onto the floating cultist, Victrell, who radiates an aura of pure menace. The cultist's eyes burn with fury as he attempts to de-escalate the situation. Clutching his chest, Noah desperately bluffs, claiming to be an emissary from the void itself. When the cultist scoffs, Noah presents the mysterious scroll as proof of his divine connection. Victrell's face contorts with rage, completely unconvinced by the audacious lie. He boldly claims the scroll is a direct message from the void, an answer to the cultist's devotion. Victrell glares with utter contempt, his expression revealing he's not falling for the ruse. Unfazed, Noah continues his performance, acting as if it's a great honor to deliver this divine message. The cult leader's fury erupts, his eyes glowing as he accuses Noah of daring to lie about such a sacred matter. A shadowy appendage whips past Noah's head, forcing him to dodge as his bluff completely falls apart. Just in the nick of time, a system notification reveals his new Astral Walker ability, Blink. He instantly activates the skill, teleporting across the room and leaving a shimmering afterimage in his place. Landing safely, Noah glances back, his system window still glowing beside him. Reaching into his inventory, he firmly grips the hilt of the executioner's massive sword. The formidable blade materializes from the holographic screen, ready to be unleashed. Wielding the massive blade, Noah leaps forward to deliver a devastating blow. But the cultist unleashes a wave of dark energy, deflecting the attack and sending Noah flying. Despite the counter, Noah's blade finds its mark, leaving a deep gash across the cultist's chest. He slides across the stone floor, quickly regaining his footing for the next move. The cult leader stumbles back, clutching his wound in disbelief at the mortal's audacity. Seizing the opening he created, Noah shouts a command to his fiery-haired ally. Answering the call, Aurelia slams her foot down, shattering the ground with a fiery eruption. She intercepts the cultist's desperate attack, her raw power overwhelming his dark magic. With a final decisive blow, Aurelia drives her flaming fist into the cultist's back. She then unleashes a torrent of fire, launching her defeated foe across the chamber. The cult leader reels back in agony, his body unable to withstand the fiery impact. Without a moment's hesitation, Aurelia launches herself into the air to continue her relentless assault. She unleashes a furious volley of fiery strikes, overwhelming the helpless cultist in midair. Each blow lands with devastating force, leaving the cult leader completely at her mercy. Gathering her power, she prepares to end the fight with a single decisive kick. Her final fiery attack sends the cultist crashing down, and a system notification confirms their victory. Noah watches as his system screen lights up, announcing his classes have gained several new levels. As Aurelia lands, another notification details his significant stat boosts and a new batch of attribute points. The system confirms his quest is complete, and reveals he's absorbed part of the chief's power. Utterly spent but victorious, Noah throws his hands up in sheer, unadulterated relief. Lying on the floor, Noah cheekily tells his fiery ally that she owes him an explanation. Unimpressed, she demands to know who he is and how he was summoned. Her hand ignites as she voices her distrust, explaining she can't relax until she knows he's not a threat. She presses him for answers, pointedly asking if he's even from this world. Noah breaks into a cold sweat, realizing the danger of answering her questions incorrectly. He internally debates whether to reveal his otherworldly origins, knowing it could be a death sentence. After a moment of tense silence, he firmly denies being from another world. Her fiery suspicion grows as she questions his allegiance to the cult, or a group called the Iron Fists. Pushing himself to a sitting position, he feigns ignorance about the factions she mentions. Face to face with the intimidating woman, he vehemently denies any knowledge of the groups she named. Her fiery demeanor cools as she apologizes for her earlier hostility, thanking him for his help. Noah explains his own guardedness, revealing he was betrayed by his former adventuring party. She acknowledges his difficult day, and the tension between them finally begins to ease. He tries to justify his cautious strategy by mentioning a quest with an objective not to die, confusing her completely. His attempt to explain role-playing games only leaves Aurelia more bewildered by his strange vocabulary. Deciding to be direct, he introduces himself as Noah, and bluntly states he was reborn into this world after dying. Her suspicion returns instantly, as she knows resurrection is impossible without a god's power. He throws his hands up in surrender, confessing he's just as confused by his situation as she is. Convinced by his honesty, she accepts he's a rare otherworlder, and her suspicion finally fades. She then plops down on the floor right in front of him, leaving Noah baffled by her sudden change in posture. He questions her sudden calm, insisting they should be escaping instead of meditating. Her knowing glance confirms his otherworldly nature, as she realizes he's truly not from this realm. She explains that meditation is the primary way for warriors like them to replenish their exhausted mana. He's baffled by her mention of his aura, a concept completely foreign to him and his world. The local customs and terminology of this new world leave him utterly lost and confused. He awkwardly compares their power to simple magic tricks, which she finds amusing given his dark choice of class. Her comment makes him sweat, and he anxiously asks if his exsanguinator path is considered taboo. She reassures him that his path is fine with the Adventurers Guild, so long as he avoids darker magic. As he attempts to meditate, a new system window materializes above his head. The system confirms he's learned the meditation skill, boosting his mana recovery and inspiring him to explore his other powers. He decides to use the downtime to explore the full extent of his new powers. The system displays his 3 new abilities: Blood Drain, Blink, and the ominous-sounding Obliterate. Already familiar with the first 2, he focuses on the mysterious 3rd skill from his Void Hunter class. The description reveals it channels the void's energy to annihilate anything in his path. As he tests the skill, a dark energy coalesces in his hands, but a warning flashes that it's draining his health. A confident grin spreads across his face, glad his exsanguinator path can counteract the dangerous drawback. Just as Aurelia finishes her recovery and stretches, she announces it's time for them to leave. The pair walks past the dissolving remains of the cult chief, leaving the chamber of their ordeal behind. Aurelia suddenly stops, leaning over to inspect something she's found, catching Noah's attention. She holds up an ornate golden artifact, explaining it's a powerful spatial storage device. Aurelia explains they'll need to get to a city to have any hope of opening the golden artifact. Noah ponders the convenience of a physical inventory, wondering if his system has a similar function. She reveals a major complication. The device is blood-bound, making it impossible for anyone but the owner to access. While searching the chief's body, she explains they'll need his key or an expert to bypass the lock. Noah asks to inspect the artifact, and Aurelia casually tosses the supposedly impenetrable device to him. As he examines the artifact, his eyes glow with a familiar blue light, a plan forming in his mind. A system window materializes, offering to bypass the blood magic and transfer the contents to his inventory. With a confident smirk, he bypasses the ancient security measure with a simple press of a button. A flood of notifications confirms his success, revealing a hoard of valuable loot from the chief's stash. Completely unaware of his system-powered theft, Aurelia continues her search for a cellar key. Noah casually presents the golden key he found, leaving Aurelia completely stunned. He explains it came from the chief's storage, listing off the impressive haul of loot he acquired. She marvels at his ability to bypass the bloodlock as he drops the key into her hand. Deciding he needs a wardrobe change, he pulls a new set of clothes directly from his system inventory. He dons a new shirt and a dark cloak, then turns his attention to the more ominous items he looted. The system identifies a particularly unsettling piece of jewelry, the Ring of the Abyssal Eye. Aurelia recognizes the ring, confirming it's cursed but offers a significant boost to mana capacity. Despite its creepy, ever-watching eye, he equips the ring, immediately receiving a skill upgrade notification. The system details the ring's powerful enchantments, boosting his mana, perception, and identification skill. With their business concluded, Aurelia unceremoniously kicks the chief's body aside, clearing their path. He glances over at Aurelia, his enhanced perception activating. The system reveals she's a level 68 Flame Warden, nearly as powerful as the cult chief. Turning back to his loot, he scrolls through the chief's impressive collection of items. A wicked grin spreads across his face as he discovers a new set of weapons. He materializes an ornate glowing dagger from his system inventory. With a few practice swings, he celebrates his newly acquired and very free arsenal. Meanwhile, Aurelia calmly steps over the remains of their defeated foe. A small flame ignites in her palm as she turns to confront Noah. She astutely asks if this was his first time taking a life, and he wonders how she could tell. Her expression turns serious as she explains her experience allows her to recognize the signs. Noah questions her motivations, and she lists the typical rewards of an adventurer's life. But her true reason is a deep-seated desire to help people and fight the evil in the world. She then turns the question back on him, asking if he has any regrets about what he did to survive. He confidently states he has none, as it was a clear case of kill or be killed. Aurelia approves, revealing she was also betrayed by fellow adventurers who handed her to the cult. His attention turns back to his system, where he finds a new skill tome to claim. Pulling the book from the screen, he asks for her opinion, and she confirms he has the makings of a great adventurer. She praises his quick thinking and composure, impressed by how he handled the crisis. Noah accepts the compliment with a genuine, grateful smile. After a moment of self-reflection, he asks how to use his new tomes, and she reveals it will require a special ritual. Aurelia explains that he'll need a ritual circle to use the tome, which she offers to draw. But as she speaks, the tome in Noah's hand erupts with blue light, leaving her completely stunned. Ignoring her advice, Noah places his hand on the book, confident he can use it directly. The tome floats into the air and opens on its own, defying all of Aurelia's expectations. A system window materializes, offering to unlock a sight-based ability from the tome. With a determined look, Noah prepares to accept the system's offer and claim his new power. The system then prompts him to choose which of his 3 classes will receive the new skill. He decisively selects the Void Hunter path, and the system confirms the tome has been consumed. A notification confirms he's unlocked Void Hunter's Eye, and a glowing symbol materializes over his face. The Ring of the Abyssal Eye immediately activates, boosting his new skill to level 3. A brilliant light erupts as Noah absorbs the tome's power, a glowing symbol appearing on his forehead. His vision sharpens, the world around him coming into focus with newfound clarity. Overjoyed by his enhanced senses, he revels in the high-definition clarity of his new reality. He eagerly turns to Aurelia, ready to boast about his newfound ability to see mana. She calmly corrects his assumption, explaining that what he's actually perceiving is her powerful aura. Looking down at his own glowing hands, he realizes the purple energy enveloping him is his own aura. His modern slang for awesome only serves to confuse Aurelia further. Undeterred, he moves on to the second tome, which the system identifies as a rare Tome of Infliction. The book dissolves into energy, granting his exsanguinator class a new ability, Bleed. Aurelia is impressed, confirming that the ability to apply status effects to weapons is a rare and valuable skill. Aurelia tells him to consume a low-grade mana stone before they depart. He asks about the risks of a higher-grade stone, and she warns him of mana poisoning. She explains that a slightly stronger stone offers a minor boost, but comes with a painful price. A much stronger stone provides a temporary surge of power, which she demonstrates with a flex. However, she warns that the resulting paralysis and agony are often lethal. Consuming anything more potent, she cautions, results in immediate, explosive self-destruction. She grimly illustrates the alternative, a slow, agonizing demise as the mana ravages the body from within. Undeterred by the gruesome details, Noah smirks, ready to continue their mission. As they navigate the ruins, Aurelia reveals her intention to raid the cult's storage chamber for magical artifacts. She also mentions searching for the belongings of someone she was sent to find, making Noah wonder if others are still alive. Aurelia clenches her fist, revealing she was the last survivor of the cult's underground dungeon. She cautions him to stay alert for lingering traps, cultists, or monsters as they proceed. The pair cautiously makes their way down a long, stone-paved corridor. They venture deeper into the ruins, the path now overgrown with ancient vines. Peeking around a doorway, Noah asks if she still has the golden artifact. He hands the ornate storage device back to her, having already looted its contents. Aurelia's hand ignites with fire as she prepares to use the artifact. She raises the device high, and it emits a brilliant light, revealing a hidden passage. The light illuminates a massive wall covered in strange runes, and Noah wonders what drove the cultists to such extremes. He reflects on the dark side of humanity, realizing it's a constant even in this new world. Aurelia lists the many temptations that lead people down a dark path, from power to false promises. She asserts that the cultists they faced were all adults who willingly chose their fate. As she kneels by the passage, Noah gestures toward the strange, shimmering energy ahead. Aurelia identifies the shimmering area as an illusionary trap they must leap across to proceed. Noah clarifies his concern isn't for the cultists, but for any innocents who were forced into this life. Her expression hardens as she explains that priests have fought the influence of the abyss for centuries. She describes a brutal purification ritual by fire, a punishment and public execution for cultists. The few who endure the agonizing process are said to be irrevocably altered by the experience. Noah trembles at the thought, horrified by the idea of a child being subjected to such cruelty. She grimly explains that children are given a swift end, a harsh reality as they approach a spiked pit. Aurelia suddenly stops, her attention fixed on something just ahead. They discover a massive doorway sealed by a shimmering blue magical barrier. Deciding diplomacy is overrated, she announces her plan to simply punch her way through. Her fist ignites with a furious blaze, channeling immense power into her gauntlet. With a determined glare, she unleashes a devastating fiery punch. The magical seal shatters in a cataclysmic explosion, blasting them both backward. Noah smirks at her explosive problem-solving skills as she sighs at the aftermath. Stepping through the wreckage, they find themselves in what appears to be the cult chief's private study. After a quick search, Aurelia determines the room is disappointingly empty of valuables. Noah reasons that a paranoid cult leader would never keep their real treasures in such an obvious place. He taps his foot, a classic movie trope coming to mind as he scans the room. Spotting a bookshelf, he begins pulling out volumes, searching for a hidden mechanism. He grips one of the books, his instincts telling him this is the one. A system notification pops up, identifying the book as a rare skill tome for summoning. He waves the notification away, prioritizing the search for the chief's secret stash. Relying on old movie logic, he begins tapping each book on the shelf, much to Aurelia's confusion. One of the books recedes into the shelf, revealing a hidden keyhole behind it. He pulls the chief's golden key from his system inventory, ready to test his theory. With a confident look, Noah holds up the key, certain he's found the entrance. He inserts the key into the lock, hearing a satisfying click as it turns. The entire bookshelf rumbles, slowly sliding to the side to reveal what lies behind it. As a secret passage opens, Noah is genuinely surprised that his movie-inspired hunch paid off. Aurelia asks how he knew, and he explains it's a common trope from his world's stories. They peer down into the newly revealed path, finding a grim, blood-stained floor. To illuminate the darkness, Aurelia conjures a small orb of light on her fingertip. The light reveals a long, horrifying corridor lined with empty prison cells. Before they can proceed, a new system notification flashes in front of Noah. The system announces a hidden quest, challenging him to uncover the secrets of this dark place. He explains his new objective is to solve the chamber's mystery, despite the unknown rewards. They both share a grim look, acknowledging the ominous nature of their new path. Noah places a hand on Aurelia's shoulder, advising her to stay behind for her own safety. She turns the tables, pointing out that as a newly awakened adventurer, he's the one in real danger. Aurelia dismisses his F-rank status, stating this mission is far too perilous for a novice. Kneeling by a grim stain, she insists he should be hunting low-level monsters, not delving into a cult's den. He suggests a tactical retreat, proposing they go to a nearby town and gather reinforcements. She refuses, revealing that her former, treacherous teammates are likely still in the area. Aurelia explains her other companions were slain, and she must find their bodies before they are reanimated as undead horrors. Understanding her resolve, Noah taps his chest and decides to accompany her on this grim task. With a determined look, he vows to protect her, promising she won't fall in this place. She playfully scoffs at his bravado, while he retorts in frustration, reminding her of his role in their recent victory. She admits he's surprisingly adept with magic, but he cheekily credits his gaming habits, leaving her baffled. Reaching a fork in the corridor, Aurelia uses her light to guide them down the left path. As they squeeze through a narrow passage, Aurelia explains the cramped design is a deliberate defensive measure. She tests the wall, revealing it's forged with mana, and Noah is impressed by its durability. They arrive at another sealed door, and Noah wryly asks if she plans to use her usual brute force method. To his surprise, she simply tries the doorknob, finding the door unlocked. She cautiously opens the door, pulling him back as she steps forward to take the lead. Stepping inside, she concedes he was right as they find a room littered with arcane papers. The room is revealed to be the cult chief's secret study, filled with books and research. While she struggles to decipher the scattered notes, Noah points to a book she's holding, certain it contains the cultists' plans. She reads from the chief's journal, learning he was trying to create a chimera from his familiar. The journal details a second, more successful prototype that retained its intelligence but was ultimately lost. The notes reveal the process was unstable, and the chief needed a stronger E rank awakened as a base for his next creation. As Noah reads the final entry, his system announces his hidden quest is complete, offering no reward. Suddenly, a volley of shadowy daggers materializes, flying directly at the surprised duo. Aurelia reacts instantly, grabbing Noah and pulling him out of the study just as the attack hits. They stop in the main chamber, catching their breath as they look back toward the source of the ambush. One of the fallen cultists rises, muttering about his master's sorrow as he prepares to attack. Before he can act, a loud thud from a nearby cage draws both Noah and Aurelia's attention. A monstrous, flesh-grafted creature with 3 eyes slams against the bars as a system window identifies the new threat. Aurelia realizes with horror that the grotesque creature is fused from the bodies of her fellow prisoners. Noah observes that the monstrous amalgam seems completely uninterested in them for now. The pair lets out a collective sigh of relief, believing they've avoided another fight. But the creature's attention suddenly snaps to Noah, its many voices muttering about its master's ring. The reanimated cultist raises his hand, revealing the abyssal eye ring that now belongs to Noah. Noah's face pales as he realizes the monster is targeting him specifically for the stolen artifact. With a furious roar, the chimera shatters its cage and lunges directly at its new target. Aurelia unleashes a blast of fire to intercept the monster, giving Noah a chance to escape. As Noah dodges the attack, a system window flashes before his eyes. A new quest appears, tasking him with escaping the vengeful familiar for an epic-grade reward. Noah angrily dismisses the quest notification, knowing now is not the time for distractions. The grotesque chimera's 3 eyes fixate on him, its many voices whispering of vengeance for its fallen master. In a flash, the monster crushes the reanimated cultist under its hand, its sole focus now on Noah. The creature's initial attack sends Noah flying as he desperately signals to Aurelia that they need to flee. The force of the blow also sends Aurelia crashing to the ground, momentarily stunned by the impact. The monstrous amalgam lands heavily in a pool of water, its fused bodies crawling relentlessly toward its target. It lets out a horrifying roar, its massive tongue lashing out with terrifying speed. Just as he scrambles to escape, a crimson hand grabs his cloak, pulling him back into the fray. Caught by the monster's tongue, Noah tries to teleport, only to find his blink ability has mysteriously failed. The creature's main head grins with sadistic glee, savoring the moment as it holds him captive. A system notification confirms his aura is suppressed, disabling his blink ability just as Aurelia's flames sever the monster's tongue. Freed from its grasp, Noah scrambles away as the burning appendage thrashes wildly on the floor. The monster's gaze shifts to Aurelia, its eye glowing with a malevolent green energy as it identifies her as an obstacle. With a horrifying grin, the amalgam of faces declares its intent to annihilate them both. Aurelia slides back, defending against the creature's relentless assault with her fiery power. She realizes her flames are not enough to overcome its rapid regeneration, and begins to strategize a new approach. In response, the creature's body erupts into a mass of deadly spikes, preparing for a devastating counter. Noah recoils from a piercing mental shriek, but a system notification confirms he has resisted its debilitating effects. The spined horror launches itself through the air, casting a menacing shadow as it descends upon them. Aurelia is struck by a volley of sharp projectiles, pinning her to the ground and leaving her vulnerable. Pinned but not beaten, Aurelia shatters the spikes with a furious volley of fiery strikes. She unleashes a massive, concussive blast of fire, obliterating her restraints in a single move. Landing gracefully amidst the fiery aftermath, she regains her footing, completely unfazed. She checks on Noah, who confirms he's fine, just dealing with the ringing in his ears from her explosive counter. The monstrous chimera staggers back, its spiky hide smoking and damaged from the powerful attack. Recovering quickly, the creature spins, gathering its remaining spikes for another deadly assault. It unleashes a whirlwind of sharp projectiles, sending a storm of shadowy barbs hurtling toward them. Both Noah and Aurelia expertly dodge the lethal barrage, weaving through the deadly attack. Aurelia retaliates midair, launching a concentrated burst of fire directly at the spinning monster. Her eyes blaze with fiery determination as she prepares to unleash the full extent of her power. Wreathed in fire, Aurelia dives from the air, aiming a decisive blow at the spinning monstrosity. Her fist connects in a cataclysmic explosion, engulfing the chimera's head in a torrent of flames. She lands with practiced ease, leaving a fiery trail as the amalgam of bodies begins to writhe. The many faces fused into the creature cry out in silent agony, their forms contorting in the blaze. Aurelia holds her ground, her fiery power forming a barrier against the desperate, crawling mass. Noah's expression darkens as he recognizes the helpless, human-like quality of the creature's pained voices. With grim determination, Aurelia gathers her remaining energy, preparing to end its suffering. She unleashes a towering pillar of fire, intending to completely incinerate the grotesque horror. The chimera is caught in the fiery vortex, its twisted form consumed by the relentless inferno. Noah watches in disbelief, a bead of sweat rolling down his face as he senses the creature is somehow still alive. Noah watches in horror as the smoldering mass on the floor begins to stir, proving his fears correct. The creature's flesh twitches and shudders, its fused bodies writhing in what seems to be agonizing pain. Its charred form cracks open, revealing a new, more terrifying shape emerging from within. The chimera transforms into a draconic horror, unleashing a piercing, silent scream that echoes through the chamber. A system notification confirms Noah has been hit by a mental attack, but his will has partially resisted it. Despite his resistance, a cascade of debuffs floods his system, weakening his stats and regeneration. Staggering from the psychic assault, Noah barely registers the monster's tail whipping toward him. The creature's tail smashes into the ground with incredible force, narrowly missing its target. Just in the nick of time, Noah activates his blink skill, teleporting out of the immediate danger zone. But his escape is short-lived as the monster instantly closes the distance, slamming him with a brutal strike. The creature's tongue ensnares Aurelia, but she struggles fiercely against its powerful grip. With a flick of its head, the monster hurls her with enough force to shatter the stone wall. Its three eyes then swivel, locking onto its primary target, Noah. The draconic horror lunges forward, its tongue whipping through the air with deadly intent. Noah activates Blink at the last second, teleporting just as the attack would have landed. He reappears behind the beast as a system window announces his Blink skill has reached level 2. The monster crashes into the ground, its attack thwarted by Noah's timely escape. Noah's face contorts with alarm, realizing the immense danger he's in. From across the chamber, the injured Aurelia watches the unfolding chaos with grim determination. Seeing his ally is down, Noah watches in horror as the creature turns its malevolent gaze back toward her. Realizing his ally is in peril, Noah prepares to use his Blink ability to intervene. He plunges his dagger into the beast's back, but a system window confirms the creature resisted his bleed effect. The monster retaliates with a vicious tail swipe, forcing Noah to blink away from the deadly blow. Reappearing midair for another strike, a system notification warns him that his mana is critically low. In a desperate move, he pulls out a mana stone, his eyes glowing with resolve as he prepares to use it. He consumes the stone, instantly restoring his mana at the cost of minor poisoning, and unleashes a powerful counterattack. Ignoring the pain, he presses his advantage with a rapid series of energized slashes. His relentless assault brings the draconic horror crashing to the ground as he leaps to safety. The strain of the fight becomes apparent as he trembles, realizing how much mana he's expended. Just then, a system notification reminds him of his life-stealing ability, Blood Drain. He attempts to use Blood Drain, but a system notification confirms the creature has resisted the ability. Undeterred, he blinks above the downed monster, preparing to strike from the air. With a bead of sweat on his brow, he grips his dagger, his expression hardening with resolve. He unleashes a flurry of energized slashes, carving into the creature's hide. Notifications confirm he's inflicted bleed, but the monster resists as his mana plummets to critical levels. Using the creature's massive body as a springboard, he leaps away to create some distance. In a desperate gamble, he pulls out a high-grade mana stone and consumes it without hesitation. The system confirms his mana is overcharged and his stats are boosted, but he's now afflicted with mana poisoning. Fueled by his newfound power, he blinks away from the monster's retaliatory strike with ease. Channeling his dark energy, Noah prepares to unleash his ultimate skill, Obliterate. He plunges his daggers into the creature's head, unleashing his ultimate skill, Obliterate. Using the creature's back as a launch pad, he leaps away to reposition for another attack. With a look of intense concentration, he prepares to press his overcharged assault. He unleashes a wide arcing slash, his daggers crackling with immense power. Combining Blink and Obliterate, he becomes a blur of motion, striking the beast from all sides. His relentless assault pays off as system notifications confirm both his skills have leveled up. Believing the fight is over, he holds his dagger aloft, confident he's delivered the final blow. To ensure its demise, he drives his daggers down into the creature's dissolving form for one last strike. But the creature retaliates, its massive jaws reforming and clamping down to trap him. The temporary power fades, and a flood of system notifications confirms his buffs have expired, leaving him paralyzed and in agony. The monster roars in frustration, preparing to swallow the paralyzed Noah whole. Its long tongue wraps around his body, constricting him as it pulls him into its maw. Completely enveloped and helpless, Noah is dragged across the floor, unable to resist. From across the chamber, the injured Aurelia can only watch as her ally is consumed. The creature's throat bulges, the faces on its flesh contorting as it swallows him. Its entire body shudders violently, reacting to the unwilling meal inside it. Suddenly, a dagger pierces through from within, and a notification confirms he's inflicted bleed. A flood of system messages reveals he's used Blood Drain to heal and reduce his paralysis. The monster writhes in agony as the internal bleed effect intensifies, causing it immense damage. Its flesh begins to tear and stretch as Noah fights to carve his way out from the inside. Noah bursts forth from the creature's dissolving remains, having carved his way to freedom. He takes a weary step forward, leaving a trail of the monster's essence as Aurelia watches from afar. A barrage of system notifications confirms his victory, granting him multiple level-ups and a significant stat boost. The system announces his quest is complete, upgrading his reward to a legendary-grade Tome of Lifeblood. Just as he collapses, a new notification reveals a mysterious entity has absorbed the monster's power. He stares at the progress bar, realizing something is unlocking far beyond its intended limit. The system simply flashes a single ominous word: unlocking. Overwhelmed by the battle and the mysterious system event, his consciousness begins to fade. The strain finally takes its toll, and he collapses face first onto the cold stone floor. Unconscious and vulnerable, Noah lies motionless as the injured Aurelia looks on, unable to help. Noah's hand trembles as he slowly regains consciousness amidst the monster's remains. He struggles to his knees, clutching his head in agony as a system window flickers beside him. Forcing himself into a meditative pose, he tries to recover, and the system confirms his mana regeneration has increased. But his body is immediately racked by a violent surge of unstable energy. The backlash throws him to the ground, and he cries out, completely baffled by what's happening to him. A flood of notifications reveals the cause. He's afflicted with multiple debilitating status effects from the Mana Stone. Aurelia approaches, noting he's awake and wryly asking if he's doing all right. She walks past, admitting it's a miracle they survived and that he had to save her life yet again. With a frustrated look, she berates herself for being so easily defeated despite her experience. She stops directly in front of him, her bare feet just inches from his face. She calmly announces her intention to help him sort out his mana poisoning. Aurelia casually dismisses his gruesome state, explaining it's not a major concern. She reveals that while uncomfortable, mana poisoning is rarely lethal and has a simple fix. Aurelia instructs him to sit and release all his mana until his reserves are completely empty. The two adventurers sit opposite each other, ready to begin the purging process. Following her instructions, Noah unleashes a powerful surge of purple energy from his core. A system notification confirms he is successfully draining his corrupted mana. The system displays the immense strain on his heart as he rapidly expels the energy. Another notification flashes, warning him that his mana levels have become dangerously low. Completely drained, he hunches over, gasping for breath from the exertion. The violent purge finally ends and he slams onto the floor, completely spent. A system window confirms his success, announcing the mana poisoning has been purged. Aurelia calmly explains the strange sensation will pass as his mana naturally regenerates. She warns him that his regeneration will be impaired for a couple of days, so he asks for a healing item. Aurelia provides a flask of water, which he gratefully accepts and drinks. With his immediate crisis handled, he decides it's time to claim his legendary reward. As he prepares to use it, the legendary tome erupts with a brilliant golden light. A system window identifies the legendary Tome of Lifeblood, offering to unlock its ability. Accepting the prompt, the tome bursts into golden energy that flows directly into him. A notification confirms his Exsanguinator class has unlocked the powerful new ability, Lifeblood. The system details his new Lifeblood skill, which doubles his health regeneration and grants poison immunity. Aurelia asks about the power she felt, and he explains his new ability to store health for later. She complains with a frustrated look that he seems to be hoarding all the unfairly powerful skills. Unfazed, she shrugs and points out the inherent unfairness of his world having magic, and he agrees. His attention is drawn back to his system as he contemplates the mysterious item that was unlocking. A new notification confirms the item is ready, asking if he wishes to consume the unknown reward. He swipes the prompt, materializing a small, unassuming book from the system interface. The system identifies the mysterious item as a shard of infinite potential. He reasons that this shard should enhance his identify skill, allowing him to learn more about his ring. A new notification reveals the shard can be consumed to gain an aspect and unlock a hidden seal. Noah questions the shard's incomplete description, and Aurelia explains it's likely due to a seal or his weak identification skills. Ignoring her warning that the item might be broken, he decisively presses the prompt to consume it. A system notification confirms he has consumed the mysterious, unidentified shard. He's immediately overwhelmed by a cascade of system alerts, one alarmingly mentioning genetic modification. The intense system feedback forces him to his knees, drawing the attention of a concerned Aurelia. He struggles to process the relentless stream of information flashing before his eyes. Amidst the chaos, a new quest appears, challenging him to find more of these powerful, scattered shards. His body suddenly convulses as sharp crimson spikes painfully erupt from his back. The system announces his transformation is incomplete before a mysterious entity called Devourer applies a Purify effect. A vortex of dark energy erupts from him, and he wonders why he's being purified as the force pulls him forward. He violently expels a dark, corrupt substance, his eyes wide with shock and pain. The world spins as he collapses to the floor, overwhelmed by the violent internal purge. As he lies in a heap, a new system notification chimes into existence before him. The system announces he's been purified, enhancing his abilities and removing all his negative afflictions. Through the haze of pain, he begins to process the unexpected and powerful cleanse he just endured. Aurelia approaches cautiously, watching him lie motionless in the aftermath of the bizarre event. She's stunned by the sheer volume of corruption he expelled, wondering about the toxic nature of his home world. Later, Noah washes away the grime and corruption under a steady stream of water. He reflects on his new reality, a stark contrast to the mundane life he led just one day before. The system comically chimes in, confirming his shower has cleansed him and removed his exhaustion. Feeling refreshed, Noah dries himself off, his physique noticeably more defined after the recent trials. Back in his room, he pulls up his attribute screen, finding a substantial number of points ready to be allocated. Swiping to the next screen, he's stunned by a new, unexpected addition to his abilities. The system reveals he's gained the Devourer aspect, a unique trait that boosts his growth in all his stats. He marvels at the immediate power boost, but wonders about the full potential of the growth attribute. The system clarifies that this new attribute allows his strength to increase through both magical means and his own efforts. Testing his new power, he channels his energy, and a notification confirms a massive surge in his power attribute. Notifications flood his vision. confirming significant boosts to his agility, constitution, and mystic stats as well. Just then, Aurelia peeks into the room, surprised to find him already awake and radiating newfound power. Flustered by her sudden appearance, he explains he just finished cleaning up and awkwardly offers her the same. Aurelia casually informs a surprised Noah that she has already bathed. She explains with a confident smile that she took care of it while he was unconscious. He thoughtfully calculates that he must have been out for at least an hour. She asks if he's ready to leave, eager to get moving from the grim location. Without waiting for an answer, she leaps away, announcing they have another destination. He questions her cleanliness again, but she simply shows him her clean, bandaged hand. He squints, still skeptical that she could be clean after their intense battle. She demonstrates her power by placing a hand on his shoulder, instantly drying his wet clothes with her heat. She boasts that her fire abilities make her immune to the cold, while he fondly recalls his love for winter. As they walk toward a bright exit, he offers to introduce her to a sweet, frozen treat from his world. Aurelia is completely baffled by his strange cultural references, unsure if it's a translation issue or just him. They finally step out of the grim ruins and into a vibrant, sunlit forest. Noah is taken aback by the sudden brightness and the sounds of the living world around them. While Aurelia expresses her relief at seeing the sky, Noah stares upward in utter disbelief. He's stunned to discover this world has two suns, a fact Aurelia finds completely normal. He questions the logistics of a two-sun system, but she gives him a very straightforward explanation. She elaborates on their unique day-night cycle, which includes a first dawn and a final dusk. Noah contemplates the strange new concept of a world with two distinct dawns. A system notification suddenly appears, confirming his escape quest is complete and unlocking a map feature. His eyes flash as the new map system integrates, instantly feeding him geographical information. Noah asks about a small charm Aurelia found, which she explains is a non-magical item meant to protect children. Her grim revelation that she found the child's charm in a prison cell gives Noah a somber realization. A new system quest tasks him with returning the charm to Layfar village, setting their next destination. Without warning, Aurelia suddenly bolts past him, jolting him out of his thoughts. She stops in a clearing, deciding they'll camp for the night and offering to teach him the basics of adventuring. He bows respectfully, playfully calling her his senior, which leaves her suspicious of his true intentions. As they settle in for the night, he assures her he's being sincere, though his tone suggests otherwise. The next morning, Noah is stunned by an unexpected sight, asking Aurelia for an explanation. She casually reveals their new mode of transport, two massive armored creatures she found and tamed. He eyes the giant beasts warily, questioning if they're safe to ride or if they're more likely to become a meal. Aurelia confidently refutes his concerns, easily mounting one of the beasts. She explains the creatures, called armadillos, are tame herbivores known to cooperate with humans. Noah nods in understanding, his skepticism fading as he accepts her explanation. He stands before his own designated mount while Aurelia waits patiently on hers. Noah cautiously approaches the grazing creature, giving its armored shell a tentative pat. He attempts to climb onto the armadillo's broad, slippery back. His first attempt ends in failure as he loses his footing and tumbles to the ground. Seeing his clumsy effort, Aurelia nudges her mount forward with her heel. She laughs and rides ahead, leaving a frustrated Noah scrambling on the forest floor. Unwilling to be left behind, Noah prepares to use his blink skill to catch up. He teleports onto the creature's back, striking a proud pose as if he'd mounted it with ease. But his victory is short-lived as the beast lurches forward, nearly throwing him off balance. He frantically kicks its side, trying to get the stubborn creature to follow Aurelia. The armadillo gives him a knowing look, as if silently telling him to brace himself. Aurelia calls out a final warning to hold on tight as she leads the way into the dense forest. The creature's claws dig into the earth, preparing for a powerful launch. To his shock, the beasts defy gravity, sprinting vertically up a massive tree trunk. His mount makes a sudden, sharp turn, and he struggles to maintain his grip. He's flung into the air, and Aurelia looks back in alarm as he plummets toward the ground. Just before impact, a system window confirms he's activating his blink skill to save himself. He teleports just in time, catching a branch and dangling precariously above the forest floor. His relief is short-lived as the branch begins to crack under the strain. The branch gives way, sending him plummeting downward once again. He lands awkwardly on another branch, hanging upside down as Aurelia's laughter echoes through the trees. His mount finds him, offering a slobbery lick to his face, much to his disgust. Aurelia can't contain her amusement, laughing at his complete lack of riding skills. Noah shoots her an irritated glare, clearly not appreciating being the source of her entertainment. Now properly seated, they race through the forest, and she playfully asks if he's enjoying himself yet. To her surprise, he's beaming with excitement, comparing the exhilarating ride to flying on a dragon's back. His comment catches her off guard, and she questions how he knows of dragons if his world lacks magic. He explains that his world has dragons, but only in stories and myths, clarifying they aren't real. Noah elaborates that the closest equivalent were dinosaurs, gigantic creatures from millions of years ago. He adds that they were wiped out by a cataclysm long before humanity's existence. Aurelia notes that it's probably for the best, as elder dragons in her world can level entire cities. She reveals a conspiracy theory that dragon attacks are sometimes cover-ups for destruction caused by powerful awakened. Noah finds her theory interesting, mulling over the implications of such a cover-up. He asks for her opinion, and she confirms her belief in dragons, having witnessed many unbelievable things. Aurelia reasons that in a world with so many impossible creatures, dragons could easily exist. Noah agrees with her logic, adding that he's also encountered something that defied belief. He then struggles to remember the encounter, drawing a complete blank as Aurelia looks on, puzzled. Aurelia announces the end of the forest path, explaining they'll soon have to travel on foot. She estimates their destination is about 4 hours away as their mounts land on a solid road. To pass the time, she offers to give him a proper introduction to the world of Arendir. Riding down a wide path, they are spotted by villagers who excitedly identify them as adventurers. The pair continues forward, bathed in sunlight as they approach the village entrance. A large welcoming crowd has gathered to greet them with enthusiastic waves and cheers. The villagers' faces are filled with joy and excitement at the sight of the two heroes. Noah playfully asks if this celebrity treatment is a regular occurrence for her. She explains that such warm receptions are usually reserved for small, grateful villages. Surveying the cheering crowd, Noah smiles, thinking he could get used to being a hero. As they ride through the cheering crowd, Noah enjoys the warm reception from the villagers. After dismounting, they're approached by a young villager who seems to be a stable hand. Noah gives his mount a grateful pat, thanking the creature for the journey. Aurelia hands the stable hand some mana cores, instructing him to mix them into the creature's feed. The young man is stunned by the value of the mana cores she's given him. Noah questions her generosity, and she explains that a good tip ensures better service, a lesson he notes is universal. She then advises him to be cautious, explaining that nothing about him is common sense in this world. Aurelia explains that while she might understand, to the isolated villagers, his existence is completely alien. She wryly notes that a talking plant would probably raise fewer eyebrows than an outworlder. An innkeeper greets them as they step inside, ready to find lodging for the night. The friendly innkeeper asks the pair about the duration of their stay. Aurelia pays with 2 mana cores, requesting a room for 1 night with separate beds. The innkeeper slides a key across the counter, directing them to their room on the 2nd floor. Aurelia explains she has some business to attend to and asks if Noah wants to rest. He declines, preferring to stay and soak in the rare experience of a peaceful tavern. His morbid comment about not being murdered earns him a strange look from both Aurelia and the innkeeper. Aurelia warns him to watch his words before patting his shoulder and heading out on her own. Noah cheekily remarks to the innkeeper about her fiery spirit, admitting he finds it endearing. Another patron offers Noah a drink, guessing he's an adventurer for surviving the lost woods. The man figures that regardless of whether Noah is a fool or a hero, he could definitely use an ale. Noah agrees to the offer, admitting he could use a drink despite the early hour. The man loudly orders a mug of ale for Noah, and the waitress promptly obliges. The patron asks for his name, and Noah introduces himself, confirming he's new to the area. The man slides a full mug across the table, preparing to share a surprising piece of information. As Noah takes a drink, he casually reveals he only awakened yesterday, stunning the older man. The man warns him against traveling with an E-ranker like Aurelia, assuming he's doing it for love. Noah ignores the warning, instead savoring the ale with a look of pure satisfaction. He clarifies that he was forced to awaken, and Aurelia is simply helping him, which makes the man nostalgic. The man introduces himself as Lorien, and the two shake hands in a friendly gesture. A system window identifies Lorien as a stone-carved warrior, as Noah asks about his past as an adventurer. Lorien explains he's a retired adventurer, having lost his magic in an accident and quit while he was ahead. Intrigued, Noah asks what kind of monster could strip someone of their abilities. The old warrior begins his story, recalling a dungeon quest up north that went horribly wrong. He describes a sudden ambush by a translucent entity that paralyzed his party, killing 2 and blinding another. Lorien concludes his grim tale, admitting he lost his mana and never learned the creature's identity. As Noah drinks his ale, a system notification confirms his lifeblood ability has instantly purged the intoxication. He complains that he can't even get drunk, which leads Lorian to guess he has a powerful constitution ability. Lorian suggests deactivating the skill, and a system prompt immediately gives Noah the option to do so. A simple notification confirms his lifeblood ability has been successfully turned off. Finally able to enjoy his drink, Noah excitedly calls for another round to celebrate. Lorian explains he can use the ability to sober up instantly, a fact Noah finds absolutely hilarious. After a few more drinks, a system notification confirms he has successfully become intoxicated. He flinches as another notification reveals his lifeblood ability has automatically cleansed the effect. Now completely sober, Noah asks Lorian to elaborate on the lost villagers he mentioned earlier. The old warrior confirms with a grim expression that people have been vanishing in the woods. He recounts how the disappearances began 6 months ago when 2 villagers went to investigate and never returned. Lorian explains that even adventurers found nothing, forcing the villagers to abandon the forest out of fear. The tragedy compounded when the local mines collapsed, and no survivors were ever found in the rubble. He concludes that the villagers sealed the mines but recently hired new adventurers for one last look. The village is now divided, weighing the danger of the mines against the need for income to survive the winter. Lorian adds that strange howls and cries have been heard coming from the sealed mines. He explains the villagers are now terrified of a potential undead infestation. The old warrior notes that if the Adventurers Guild confirms an infestation, the entire village would be forced to evacuate, a fate no one wants. Stepping outside, Noah impatiently taps his foot while waiting for Aurelia. He stops as he notices a crowd of villagers murmuring and gathering down the street. Overhearing their conversation, he learns the mayor plans to seal the mines for good. The villagers panic, realizing that without the mines, their town is doomed. The concerned citizens rush off to confront the mayor about his decision. Noah watches as the anxious crowd gathers in front of what appears to be the town hall. Noah peeks into the crowded room, observing the tense standoff between the villagers. His system identifies the 2 main figures, a stressed-looking mayor and a furious stone-carved miner. The miner confronts the mayor, refusing to let the town starve, while the mayor argues against risking more lives. The mayor desperately tries to calm the crowd, pleading that he's only trying to ensure their survival. Aurelia suddenly appears beside Noah, questioning his presence, and he fires the same question back at her. She explains she came to get information on her betrayers, but Noah points out the mayor is a little busy. He casually recounts how he ended up there after a few drinks and a chat at the inn. When he asks if they should help, she reveals this is her plan, as they need the mayor's help to leave. Deciding she's not being assertive enough, Noah steps forward to intervene, much to her shock. He smoothly interrupts the argument, telling the men he understands their goals and shares their desire for the village to prosper. He places a hand on each man's shoulder, suggesting they find a solution together instead of arguing. He gives them a confident smile, looking completely in control of the situation. From the crowd, a bewildered Aurelia watches the scene unfold, confused by his sudden move. He introduces himself as Noah Brown, a newly awakened adventurer, capturing the attention of the entire room. With a theatrical bow, he boldly declares himself the solution to all their problems. He breaks down their problem, explaining they need someone to investigate the dangerous mines. Snapping his fingers, he confidently implies that he is the perfect person for such a perilous task. The miner scoffs at the idea, questioning why they would send a newly awakened adventurer to certain doom. Noah reveals his trump card, pointing to Aurelia and announcing she will be coming with him. Aurelia seethes with silent rage, furious at being roped into his reckless plan without her consent. Aurelia steps forward, explaining her own quest might be connected to the village's troubles. The mayor recalls she arrived with a team, and she confirms she's searching for them but will help. Noah adds with a smug grin that their assistance will of course come with a price. The mayor eagerly asks for their price, and Noah cheekily requests an ability tome. The mayor suggests they travel to Windrest City for better tomes, as the village's selection is poor. He explains Windrest is the nearest city with a guild hall and a steady supply of adventuring gear. Aurelia takes charge of the deal, demanding a D-grade mana stone and 2 horses for the job. The veteran miner volunteers to guide them, and the mayor officially agrees to the terms. Noah enthusiastically shakes the mayor's hand, pleased to have sealed their business arrangement. A system notification chimes in, officially granting them the new quest, Trouble in the Mines. Aurelia taps Noah on the shoulder, confidently telling him it's her turn to take the lead. She turns to the miner, taking over the conversation while Noah watches with a satisfied smile. The miner then questions Noah, finding his age and recent awakening to be a strange combination. Noah explains he comes from a world without magic, which delayed his chance to awaken a path. This prompts the miner to ask if he's from a dead zone, a concept Noah is unfamiliar with. The miner elaborates, describing them as barren wastelands that drain the life from anything within them. Noah considers his own world, admitting it was more concrete than nature, but insists it wasn't a dead zone. The miner smiles, acknowledging that helping them will earn the village's gratitude, regardless of Noah's origins. With a confident grin, Noah extends his hand, ready to finalize the arrangement. They seal the deal with a firm handshake, agreeing to meet the next morning to begin the quest. Aurelia explains their next destination is Windrest City, where they can find her team and register him with the guild. Eager to move on, she suggests they get the mine quest done quickly, and Noah readily agrees. Aurelia remembers her other quest, stating she must first return the child's charm she found. Noah offers to accompany her, and they set off together down a tree-lined path. Their journey leads them to the front porch of a modest village home. Noah steps forward and knocks firmly on the wooden door. The door is thrown open by a startled woman who immediately asks about someone named Pierce. As the woman looks on with a pained expression, Aurelia prepares to return the lost item. The woman's eyes fix on the charm, recognizing it as her son's. Clutching the memento, the grieving mother trembles as she asks for news of her missing child. With a heavy heart, Aurelia shakes her head, confirming the woman's worst fears. The mother collapses in grief as Noah and Aurelia witness the painful reality of their quest. A younger woman appears, asking them to help bring her distraught mother inside. Inside, the sister comforts her mother, revealing they had braced themselves for this terrible news. She tearfully thanks them for the closure, explaining they can now finally begin to move on. The sister says they have no reward, but Noah explains their new quest to search the mines is all the reason they need. Aurelia looks away, expressing her regret that she couldn't have done more to help. Noah places a comforting hand on her shoulder, offering a silent gesture of support. The grieving mother rises, her face a mask of sorrow as she asks to be excused. Just as they prepare to leave, the sister stops them, calling out with a sudden sense of urgency. The grieving mother clutches the charm, pleading to know what happened to her son. Her daughter, overwhelmed with sorrow, asks for the details of her brother's fate. Aurelia explains that her son, along with many others, was taken by a group of abyssal cultists. She reveals the cultists were performing grim rituals and that she and Noah nearly became victims themselves. Aurelia credits Noah with saving her life, adding that they searched for survivors but found no one. In a flashback to the dark prison, she concludes that the charm was the only trace left behind. The mother looks up with a mix of fear and hope, asking if they dealt with the cultists. Noah's expression hardens as he confirms he eliminated every last one of them. The mother closes her eyes, processing the finality of the news with a heavy heart. She begins to reminisce about her son, Pierce, describing his reckless habit of hunting monsters in the woods and mines. The mother reveals she was prepared for this outcome, as her own husband was an adventurer. She explains that even after he settled down, the call to adventure never truly left him. She recounts losing her husband to that life, and fearing her son would follow the same path. Despite her fear, she knew forcing him to stay would only cause him internal suffering. She turns to Noah and Aurelia, asking if they too possess that same unyielding desire for adventure. Noah pauses, admitting that he honestly doesn't have an answer to her question. He reflects on his recent struggles, explaining his journey has been about survival, but the idea of being an adventurer is growing on him. He admits the allure of his new powers is strong, and he's eager to explore this new world. His choice of words confuses the young woman, who questions what he means by this world. Aurelia gives him a subtle nudge, and he quickly covers his slip-up by claiming he's just a traveler from a distant land. The grieving mother steps forward, announcing she has one final request for the adventurers. She offers her son's charm to Noah, asking him to carry it on his adventures in Pierce's memory. Noah accepts the memento, promising to treasure it as he continues his journey. The mother expresses her deep gratitude for the closure they've brought to her family. As they leave, a system notification confirms the quest is complete, and Noah waves a final goodbye. With the sun setting, Aurelia suggests they rest up for their early start at the mines tomorrow. Noah agrees, clutching his stomach and noting that monster slaying is best done on a full stomach. Aurelia chuckles, commenting that his attitude makes him seem like a seasoned adventurer already. The pair walks through the bustling village street as dusk settles, heading back to the inn. The next morning, they arrive at the foot of a cliff where the sealed entrance to the mines awaits. Their guide, Lorian, explains this area was once a young dungeon before its core was destroyed. Noah is shocked to learn dungeons can die, and Lorian confirms it's possible but foolish. He clarifies that a tamed dungeon is an invaluable resource, capable of founding entire kingdoms. Aurelia wonders if it was an undead dungeon, a threat so great it would unite entire guilds to destroy it. Lorien dismisses her theory, clarifying it was just a standard Earth-type dungeon. Arriving at the boulder-sealed entrance, Noah contemplates using his own power to clear the way. Instead, the three of them begin chipping away at the rockfall with pickaxes, with Lorien taking the lead. The veteran miner then shatters a massive boulder with a single powerful kick. With the entrance cleared, Noah questions the miner's strength, who credits it to decades of experience and a bit of skill. Inside, Lorien points out the regenerated mana stones in the walls, a rare sight for a mine entrance. Aurelia reminds Noah to stay alert, warning that monsters could be lurking in the former dungeon. Noah grips his dagger, his eyes sharp and ready for whatever lies ahead. Their guide explains the mine has been eerily silent since the strange noises started. They arrive at a massive sealed stone door, the entrance to the deeper sections of the mine. The miner pushes the heavy doors open, revealing the path to the main section of the mines. As they step inside, they're greeted by the grim sight of bloodstains on the cavern floor. The group is horrified to discover the chamber is a scene of a recent brutal attack. The gruesome sight overwhelms Noah, who struggles to keep his composure. Suddenly, an unseen force assaults their minds, causing Noah and the miner to cry out in agony. Aurelia shouts and lunges forward, trying to stop whatever is compelling her companions. Unaffected by the mental assault, Aurelia uses Blink to get a better view of the chamber. Noah stares in horror to see the veteran miner, Lorien, lying motionless on the ground. He kneels beside the fallen man, desperately trying to understand what just happened. Lorien's eyes glow with a sinister light as dark tendrils crawl across his face, and he struggles to warn Noah. A wave of dread washes over Noah as he witnesses the miner's terrifying transformation. Shadowy tendrils erupt from Lorien, ensnaring Noah as the system identifies the new threat. From the entrance, Aurelia shouts a warning, seeing her companion trapped by the dark energy. A system notification bizarrely announces the completion of their quest, rewarding him with experience. A new, more dangerous quest appears, revealing the dark legacy they've stumbled upon as Lorien is lifted into the air. The entity fully consumes Lorien, twisting his features into a monstrous visage as he lets out a silent scream. Noah tightens his grip on his daggers, preparing to face the shadowy tendrils that now writhe freely. Aurelia's fist ignites as she warns their guide, Jerome, to get clear of the impending battle. The miner sweats, grimly accepting that this fight is far beyond his capabilities. The dark entity fully manifests, twisting into the horrifying form of a tendril-covered monster. It lunges at Noah with blinding speed, forcing him to dodge the chaotic assault. The creature suddenly teleports in a flash of dark energy, mirroring Noah's own blink skill. He watches in disbelief, realizing his opponent shares his unique teleportation ability. A massive pillar of flame erupts through the cavern, forcing Noah to brace against the intense heat. Aurelia stands as the source of the inferno, her fists blazing as she shields the terrified guide. As the monster vanishes into thin air, Noah scans the cavern, wondering where it has gone. A drop of dark ooze falls past his eye as he focuses on the new threat. He and Aurelia stare up as the creature hovers menacingly near the cavern ceiling. The tendril-covered beast dives down, its glowing eyes fixed on its prey. In a flash of blue light, Noah activates his blink skill to evade the attack. He reappears a short distance away, now armed with dual daggers and ready for combat. He teleports repeatedly, narrowly dodging a flurry of shadowy tendrils in a desperate dance for survival. Aurelia joins the fray, blasting the creature's face with a concentrated jet of fire. The monster shrieks in fury, its grotesque tongue lashing out as it reels from the fiery assault. Deciding on a new strategy, Aurelia uses her power to lift a massive boulder, blocking their only escape route. The heavy stone slams into place, sealing the entrance and trapping them inside with the enraged beast. With a determined roar, Aurelia uses her immense fire-enhanced strength to lift the massive boulder. She hurls the flaming rock, sending a massive wave of fire hurtling towards the tendril monster. The fiery projectile soars through the cavern, a blazing meteor aimed directly at their trapped foe. The monster is engulfed in a cataclysmic explosion, caught in the center of Aurelia's powerful attack. Noah watches the inferno with a tense expression, gripping his dagger and waiting for his moment to strike. Seeing the creature's remains writhing on the ground, he dashes forward to deliver the final blow. He leaps into the air, bringing his dual daggers down in a powerful strike against the shadowy mass. A system notification confirms he's inflicted a bleed effect, draining the life from the void-grafted creature. The monster lets out a silent, agonizing shriek, its grotesque form recoiling from the devastating attack. In a final, desperate act, the creature unleashes a shockwave, sending a stunned Noah flying backward. A system notification reveals his lifeblood ability only partially resisted a poison attack, leaving him wounded. The monster mirrors his blink skill again, appearing instantly to strike him down. The creature teleports away, leaving a trail of its own blood as Aurelia watches in alarm. His health plummets to a critical level, and he realizes he needs to finish the fight immediately. He quickly downs a potion, and a notification confirms he's gained a new resistance to poison. The battle intensifies as they weave through a chaotic storm of shadowy tendrils. With a look of fierce determination, Aurelia unleashes another powerful blast of fire from her fist. The concentrated beam of fire scorches the cavern floor as it rockets toward the monster. Though the creature's form is scorched, its tendrils continue to writhe, and Aurelia senses the fight isn't over. The system identifies the creature as a mutating abyssal grafted human, and they realize they must destroy it before its transformation is complete. The creature writhes on the ground, its tendrils flailing as it struggles to reform. Unwilling to give it a chance, Noah channels a burst of raw power into his daggers. He dashes forward with blinding speed, his blades leaving a trail of crimson energy. Launching himself into the air, he prepares to deliver the final blow. Aurelia screams a desperate warning, sensing the creature is baiting him into a trap. He ignores her cry, landing amidst the tendrils and unleashing a vicious spinning slash. The monster's tendrils lash out, piercing his body in a desperate counterattack. Its central eye glows with an ominous light, gathering a massive amount of dark energy. The creature detonates in a violent explosion of abyssal power, catching Noah at point-blank range. System notifications confirm the devastating aftermath: a lost limb, critical health, but his lifeblood ability kicks in, rapidly healing him. The force of the explosion sends Noah crashing to the cavern floor, leaving him stunned and injured. He realizes his lifeblood ability can't heal his severed limb, allowing a potent poison to course through him. Ignoring the pain, he grabs his severed arm, grimly assessing the full extent of his devastating injuries. Determined to fight on, he shoves the limb back into place as a notification confirms his poison resistance has leveled up. Seeing her chance, Aurelia unleashes another massive fireball, refusing to let the monster recover. Her attack erupts into a towering inferno, consuming the cavern in a desperate attempt to incinerate their foe. But the creature mirrors their own skills, blinking out of the blast zone at the very last second. Tapping into his own abyssal power, Noah surges forward, his eyes glowing with a vengeful light. He closes the distance in an instant, delivering a brutal headbutt that staggers the abyssal creature. A system notification announces a new skill as he unleashes a devastating void-empowered strike, tearing into the monster's core. In a savage move, Noah sinks his teeth into one of the creature's shadowy limbs. He rips the appendage apart, earning a system notification as his poison resistance levels up again. Amidst the chaotic battle, his lifeblood ability also levels up, strengthening his regenerative powers. Aurelia yells for him to fall back, preparing to unleash a massive burst of flame. Heeding her warning, Noah retreats just as her fiery attack consumes the abyssal monster. Noah squints through the smoke and heat, his gaze fixed on the inferno's epicenter. As the flames subside, they see the creature has completely vanished, leaving only lingering energy. A sudden realization strikes Noah, and he shouts a new plan, deducing the monster teleports through shadows. Trusting his insight, Aurelia immediately begins gathering immense fire energy, causing the ground to glow. She expertly molds the flames into a massive, swirling sphere of destructive power. She unleashes her ultimate attack, a miniature sun designed to incinerate every shadow in the cavern. The creature desperately tries to flee, but Noah refuses to let it escape. He lunges forward, grabbing a tendril to anchor the beast in place for Aurelia's attack. But the creature uses its own blink skill, teleporting away from his grasp. It reappears behind their guide, taking the defenseless miner hostage. Noah shouts for her to stop, realizing her powerful attack would also kill their guide. A system notification appears, asking if he recognizes a familiar energy signature. He presents the Letter of the Void God, a powerful artifact tied to the same abyssal energy. The creature hesitates, its tendrils tightening around the miner as it senses the artifact's immense power. Noah reveals his connection to the artifact, implying that destroying him might have unforeseen consequences. A system notification confirms his Voidborn perk as he channels dark energy, demanding the creature release its hostage. The abyssal creature recoils, seemingly affected by his authoritative command. Complying with his demand, the creature violently throws the miner to the side. With its hostage gone, the enraged monster lunges directly at Noah. In response, Noah summons a new ornate sword, ready to counter the attack. He unleashes a powerful swing, creating a vortex of energy to meet the creature's charge. His blade finds its mark, piercing through the monster's chest in a flash of light. He uses his blink skill to close the distance instantly, ensuring the devastating blow lands. As Noah slides back from the impact, Aurelia announces she's taking over the assault. She leaps into action, vaulting over a trail of fire to join the fight. With a furious cry, Aurelia unleashes a massive vortex of fire, sending it hurtling toward the creature. The attack detonates in a cataclysmic explosion, engulfing the cavern in a sea of flames. As the smoke clears, all that remains is a gaping, smoldering crater in the cavern wall. Noah cautiously approaches the smoldering remains of the creature, his dagger still at the ready. He steps past the dying flames, his expression grim as he prepares to finish the job. The twisted, dying creature begs him for a final release from its agonizing existence. With a cold, unwavering gaze, Noah raises his dagger, ready to grant its last request. He ends its suffering, and a system notification confirms his blood drain ability has also purged the lingering poison from his system. In its final moments, the creature's eyes convey a sense of peace and gratitude. A cascade of system notifications confirms his victory, rewarding him with massive experience gains and several level-ups. Another system notification confirms the quest is complete, rewarding him with an epic tome of abyssal summon. Noah realizes with horror that the miner was conscious inside the monster, and Aurelia laments his terrible fate. The system then presents him with a chilling offer, the chance to consume the remains of the abyssal-grafted human. Without hesitation, Noah accepts the prompt, choosing to absorb the creature's essence. He kneels as a golden light envelops him, beginning the process of consumption. A notification confirms his Devourer ability has absorbed the creature, also granting him its memories. Noah cries out in agony, overwhelmed by the sudden and painful flood of another's life experiences. He witnesses flashes of unimaginable suffering, seeing the grim fate of the man named Victral. The memories reveal the abyssal cult's cruelty, and Noah's sorrow quickly turns into cold, hard rage. His eyes glow with vengeful fury, as he silently vows to hunt down and eradicate every last member of the cult. A new quest appears, Abyss Hunter, challenging him to eradicate the entire cult with an impossible difficulty rating. Aurelia gently supports him, her expression filled with concern as she insists on finding him a healer. Leaning heavily on her, Noah is helped out of the dark cavern and back toward the light. His consciousness fades, and in a flash of light, he finds himself waking up in an unfamiliar place. He sits up on a modern sofa, rubbing his neck and noticing his arm is still glowing with a strange energy. A man with glasses greets him sarcastically, making it clear his arrival is not a welcome one. Noah stands, demanding to know where he is, only to be met with a cryptic response from the mysterious man. He frowns, trying to piece together how he was transported from the mines to this strange apartment. Flashes of the battle and Aurelia's help race through his mind, ending with the image of his glowing hand. The man Dylan casually eats a chip, remarking on how fascinating he finds Noah's world. Dylan muses that while Noah's world lacks magic, its violence proves that the nature of mortals is the same everywhere. Noah demands to know how he's viewing these images, but Dylan casually dismisses the question. He explains the astral script is linked to Noah's soul, pulling information from his memories and connections. Dylan admits he's been studying Noah's world, not expecting to be there so long, prompting Noah to ask if he was expected to die. With a smug chuckle, Dylan confirms he didn't expect Noah to survive and congratulates him for exceeding expectations. He offers a slow, mocking clap, which only serves to irritate Noah further. Noah narrows his eyes, his suspicion of the mysterious man growing with every word. Dylan then reaches for the remote control, leaving Noah to question his actions. He casually turns off the television, ending the display of Noah's world. Noah's hand glows as he angrily accuses Dylan of trying to sabotage his journey from the very beginning. Dylan leans back, explaining a pact prevents him from interfering, but he can still hope for Noah's failure. He smirks, admitting it's entertaining to place bets on how badly Noah will mess things up. Noah rises to his feet as Dylan gets serious, stating they need to discuss the new quest. The bespectacled man specifically refers to the Abyss Hunter quest that Noah so recklessly unlocked. He forbids Noah from destroying the abyssal cult, but Noah smirks, flattered that Dylan thinks he's capable. With a cold stare, Dylan clarifies he has zero faith in Noah's abilities, but his opinion doesn't matter. Noah counters that since the system gave him the quest, it must be allowed under their pact. Dylan tries a new tactic, asking what it would take for Noah to abandon the quest, claiming the cult is useful. Unimpressed, Noah gestures with his glowing hand, telling Dylan that sounds like a you problem. Dylan picks up the remote, confidently stating that every human has a price. Dylan explains that every person has a price, a desire that can be exploited, whether it's money, loved ones, or dreams. He argues that suffering is an unavoidable part of mortal nature and asks Noah to name a price to drop the quest. Dylan questions how many people Noah can possibly save, reminding him that he's only one man. He insists that Noah is powerless to change the fundamental workings of the world. Noah counters by asking why Dylan is so afraid of him even trying to make a difference. He furiously questions Dylan's motives, pointing out that the cultists were just blindly seeking power. Dylan condescendingly agrees, stating that blind power seeking is exactly how humans operate. Noah glares back, defiantly stating that not all humans are like that. Enraged, Dylan dismisses him as a fool who doesn't count in the grand scheme of things. Noah mockingly asks what it would take for Dylan to protect him, a fool, over the cult he seems so desperate to save. Noah grabs Dylan's tie, demanding to know why the abyssal cult is so important. With a weary sigh, Dylan relents, preparing to explain the cosmic stakes. He transports them to a vast, empty void, revealing it as the astral realm, the source of all void mana. Dylan explains that pockets of this realm, called the Abyss, are the source of the cult's power. As the Abyss spreads, it leaks void energy, allowing creatures from the astral realm to enter the physical world. A vision of monstrous, shadowy beasts erupts, showcasing the terrifying power that can be unleashed. Dylan clarifies that he and his kind provide strength to the cultists in a symbiotic relationship. In return for this power, the cultists work to expand the Abyss into the physical realm. Noah angrily confronts him for giving power to anyone, but Dylan coldly states that mortal affairs are not his concern. Furious at the hypocrisy, Noah demands to know why Dylan cares so much about the Abyss's expansion if mortal actions don't matter. Dylan calmly adjusts his tie, explaining the void's nature is simply to consume, a force beyond good or evil. In a burst of fury, Noah hurls the remote control, shattering the large television screen. He grabs Dylan by the shoulder, his fist clenched as he stops the man from turning away. Noah furiously questions the suffering he witnessed, demanding to know what becomes of the children caught in the cult. Dylan coldly dismisses his concern, stating Noah already got revenge on a stranger and has no reason to care. Tapping another remote, Dylan once again asks Noah what it would take for him to reconsider his quest. Noah flatly refuses, declaring his unwavering intent to destroy the cult as dark energy swirls around the broken screen. He stares defiantly toward the exit, stating he doesn't care how long it takes or even if he ultimately succeeds. With his hand glowing and shirt torn, Noah walks forward, vowing to make the cultists abandon their path for the innocent. He approaches the door, explaining that by extension of their pact, he has authority over the cult and can alter their path. He reaches for the door, asserting that the Pact of the Voidborn grants him authority over the cult. Noah reveals his plan is not to destroy the cultists, but to convert them by offering a better oath. A new system quest appears, a new void, challenging him to forge an entirely new path for the Abyss's followers. Accepting defeat, Dylan sardonically wishes Noah farewell, having failed to change his mind. As Noah departs the strange realm, Dylan delivers a final, ominous warning about the dangerous ground he now treads. His consciousness snaps back to his body, and he wakes up in bed as Dylan's warning about the wrath of the gods echoes in his mind. He sits up looking at his bandaged arm, still trying to process the strange and intense encounter. Alone in the room, he grimly notes his new and unwelcome habit of suddenly passing out. The door opens to reveal a smiling Aurelia, who seems relieved to see him finally conscious. She explains he was out for 2 days, a much faster recovery than the healer predicted, though Noah dryly points out his arm is still missing. Aurelia flexes, explaining that a powerful healer could regrow his arm, though it would be incredibly expensive. She also theorizes that his blood-based path might allow him to regenerate the limb naturally upon ranking up. Noah considers his options, including magical prosthetics, but feels there must be other ways to restore his arm. With a sly smile, he asks if there's a library nearby, already forming a plan to research a solution for himself. After she confirms the town has one, he decides to visit, confident he can find a method to tweak in his favor. Aurelia warns him against using nefarious powers, but he cheekily admits most of his abilities already look evil. Her demeanor shifts as she crosses her arms, finally deciding it's time to confront him about his strange abilities. She admits she held back her questions out of gratitude, knowing Outworlders have strange powers and he'd saved her twice. But now she declares she can no longer stay silent, and Noah listens, ready for her interrogation to begin. She reveals she's known from the start that he has 3 separate paths, as she can clearly sense the distinct mana types in his aura. She notes his 3 paths feel unusually powerful, making him an anomaly even among the strange. Aurelia recalls his fighting style, pointing out it was far too skilled for a complete beginner. Combined with his appearance among a void cult, she admits his presence was deeply concerning. Yet she acknowledges that when the fighting started, he chose to stand with her instead of running. Noah explains his combat prowess comes from a history of dabbling in various martial arts back home. He admits he kept his multiple paths secret out of self-preservation in a hostile new world. Aurelia listens intently, finally understanding the reasons behind his guarded behavior. To prove her own trustworthiness, she offers to show him something she keeps hidden from others. With her aura flaring, she warns that this trust must be mutual, or there will be consequences. Her eyes glow as she reveals her true purpose was to test him before activating a skill he recognizes all too well. She reveals a glowing ring on her bandaged hand, explaining it was the key to her test and urges him to inspect it. Noah initially sees nothing, but Aurelia calmly tells him to look again. His system pierces the veil, identifying the legendary Ring of Second Chance, a one-time use item that saves its wearer from death. Aurelia explains the ring was her secret insurance, allowing her to take risks and confirms he has passed her test. However, she still has questions, pointing out his command over the void creature and the unnaturally pure mana of his strange letter. She asks if he was somehow fooling her senses from the start, but he insists he was always honest, a claim she's inclined to believe. He playfully suggests she use her lie detector skill, only for Aurelia to admit with a smirk that she was bluffing. To build real trust, she offers him an alternative method, extending her hand to his. She places a glowing crystal in his palm, telling him to press it to his heart and channel his mana. With an intense gaze, she prepares to judge his character, asking him one last time what she should truly make of him. Pressing the crystal to his chest, Noah admits his memory is fragmented, with no recollection of his own death. He explains his void powers and the letter are a direct result of waking up in the abyss after he died. He raises his arm, insisting he's not a villain, but simply a lost man trying to survive in an unfamiliar world. Aurelia places her hand over his, instructing him to repeat an oath of truth. She leads by example, swearing on her own astral soul that everything she said is true. With a solemn expression, Noah repeats the oath, binding himself to the same vow. A system notification confirms he has successfully sworn an oath of honesty. A brilliant light erupts from the crystal in his hand, leaving him momentarily stunned. Aurelia smiles, explaining the stone didn't crack, proving his honesty and earning her complete trust. He asks what would have happened if he'd lied, and she reveals the stone detects the wavering aura of a falsehood. She explains that the slightest wavering in his aura would have shattered the stone. With their trust established, Noah unwraps his bandages, ready to find a solution for his arm. He pats the bed, his mind set on his next course of action. Leaving Aurelia behind for the moment, he heads out into the town with a clear purpose. His destination is the local library, a place he hopes holds the answers he seeks. Surrounded by books, he begins his research, determined to learn about prosthetics and this new world. He's amazed to discover the existence of advanced magical prosthetics. His research leads him down a rabbit hole of strange creatures and magical components. He reads about parasitic void worms that can take over a host's body and transform them. The text reveals a fascinating possibility, a rare symbiotic fusion that could make the host even stronger. He snaps the book shut, realizing a loophole might allow him to use the parasites to control his severed arm. Intrigued by the possibility, he delves deeper into his research on the strange void creatures. A confident smile spreads across his face as he learns that his own abundant life force can sustain a void summon. He discovers the life command ritual is key to controlling these summons, a process detailed in his new skill book. With all the pieces in place, he decides summoning a void parasite is the best way to restore his arm. His research complete, Noah leaves the library with a new sense of purpose and a dangerous plan. He and Aurelia find a secluded alley, the perfect spot to begin the risky summoning ritual. A system prompt appears, and without hesitation, he chooses to consume the rare skill book. Dark energy surrounds him as he absorbs the knowledge, and a notification confirms he's learned the Abyssal Call skill. The system also reveals his advanced skill starts at a high level as he prepares a glowing crystal for the ritual. Kneeling in the alley, Noah begins to etch a complex summoning circle onto the stone floor with a mana crystal. Moments later, he stands proudly over his completed work as an arcane purple light floods the alley. He gives Aurelia a confident nod, who watches with a mix of apprehension and trust. The tome of Abyssal Summon floats before him, its pages flipping wildly as it unleashes a torrent of void energy. Standing in the center of the glowing sigil, Noah holds the tome and begins the dangerous ritual. Pages from the consumed book swirl around him as he interacts with the system interface to finalize the call. A system notification confirms the epic tome has been used, officially initiating the summon. The perspective shifts to moments earlier, deep within the dark and chaotic expanse of the void. Vicious, parasitic void worms drift through the astral plane, their sharp teeth hinting at their dangerous nature. One of the creatures asserts its dominance, letting out a silent roar as it attacks another abyssal beast. The summoning chant begins, calling out to the endless dark and hunger of the abyssal void. His incantation offers up a life force, beckoning a creature to bind itself to his astral soul. A pact is proposed. The creature's hunger will become Noah's, and his blood will become its sustenance. Deep within the void, a powerful parasitic worm answers the call, rocketing through the astral plane. It's not alone, as other, larger abyssal beasts are also drawn to the irresistible pull of the summoning circle. Caught in the chaos, the worm feels a strange thrill, a sense of life it has never known. Surrounded by ravenous rivals, the parasite is driven by a singular, overwhelming urge to feed. It deftly evades a snapping jaw, relishing the exhilarating dance of survival in the chaotic void. The small but ferocious worm counters, slamming its body into a much larger abyssal predator. As the ritual completes, the chosen parasite is violently pulled through the portal, its form stretching between realms. The system issues a set of commands to the summoned creature, establishing Noah as its master. A shadowy creature erupts from the summoning circle, its form twisting as it enters their world. The creature's thoughts reveal it's receiving a direct command from its new master to move. The multi-eyed parasite fully materializes, hovering over the sigil and facing Noah's outstretched hand. It understands the choice is simple: obey its master's will or be cast back into the void. Naming his new parasite Tony, Noah encourages it as its tendrils begin to fuse with his severed arm. He drops to his knees, enduring immense pain as the abyssal parasite latches onto his body. A system notification confirms the parasitic bond is complete, inflicting him with a fever. Seeing his agony, a worried Aurelia ignites her fist and urges him to desummon the creature. But Noah grits his teeth, determined to withstand the pain and see the dangerous ritual through to the end. Noah cries out, his body convulsing as the parasitic tendrils painfully fuse with his arm. He collapses, telling a concerned Aurelia that his entire body is burning from the inside out. A system notification appears, confirming he has just gained the pain tolerance skill from the ordeal. The heat becomes so intense that he tears at his shirt, steam rising from his skin. As his new arm takes a more monstrous shape, a notification reveals his fever has intensified to level 2. Aurelia confirms he's burning up, and he explains the parasite is consuming his life force to regenerate the limb. Surrounded by swirling void energy, he realizes he desperately needs health potions to survive the process. His own thoughts steel his resolve, reminding him not to let the overwhelming sensation of pain control him. He pants heavily, drenched in sweat as he endures the agonizing transformation. His perseverance is rewarded as a system notification confirms his pain-tolerant skill has leveled up. As his body is flooded with energy, system notifications confirm his meditation and pain-tolerance skills have reached new levels. He focuses his mind, using controlled breathing to manage the overwhelming sensations and channel the mana flowing into him. Finding a center of calm amidst the storm, he enters a deep meditative state to master the transformation. His focus pays off as his meditation and pain tolerance skills continue to rapidly increase. The transformation completes, and he stares in surprise at his new, fully formed abyssal arm. He realizes the agonizing pain has vanished, replaced by a strange numbness in the new limb. A system notification confirms the ordeal is over, as his intense fever finally breaks. Aurelia, ever watchful, offers him a potion to help with his recovery. He quickly downs the potion while Aurelia looks on, still worried about the aftermath of the risky ritual. He confirms the pain is gone, looking relieved but still processing the sudden end to his agony. He watches his new arm twitch, realizing the parasite is still finalizing the bond. The abyssal creature fully fuses with his stump, its dark form merging with his flesh. With a triumphant grin, he admires his new arm, noting its enhanced skin, muscles, and claws. System notifications confirm the parasite has evolved into a symbiote, even altering his own race to human symbiont. He gives the new limb a confident swing, testing its newfound flexibility and power. The system details their new symbiotic relationship. The creature will feed on his life force in exchange for enhanced strength and instincts. Aurelia admits with a nervous expression that she had serious doubts his reckless plan would actually succeed. He confesses he wasn't certain either, revealing he had already researched a backup plan to remove the parasite. Noah tests the arm's speed with a powerful swing, a confident smirk on his face. He flexes his new hand, testing the sharp, retractable claws that now serve as his own. With a feral grin, Noah admires his new monstrous hand, deciding the agonizing transformation was absolutely worth it. Aurelia thoughtfully warns him to keep the limb hidden, as something so unusual will only attract unwanted attention. He ignores her concern, excitedly showing off his new arm, while she points out how extreme his modification is. She crosses her arms, admitting she finds the arm unsettling, especially since it still retains a vaguely human shape. Realizing sick is a compliment in his world, she facepalms at his strange slang while he whistles innocently. The claws on his hand extend and retract, and he acknowledges he'll need to master control over his new appendage. Overcome with curiosity, Aurelia asks if she can touch it, and Noah casually agrees. She cautiously pokes his new arm, testing the strange texture of the symbiotic flesh. They both jump in surprise as his claws instinctively extend in response to her touch. Pulling her hand back, Aurelia concedes that a built-in weapon is a huge advantage for an adventurer. Aurelia explains that since the arm is now part of his astral script, it will grow stronger alongside him. Eager to test its power, Noah agrees with Aurelia's suggestion to find a more suitable location. They walk through the town at sunset, heading for a secluded spot outside the walls. Their journey takes them into a quiet, wooded area, far from any prying eyes. Aurelia identifies a sturdy tree, deeming it a perfect target for his strength test. With a confident smirk, Noah channels dark energy into his new limb, preparing to strike. He lunges forward, unleashing a powerful punch that crackles with abyssal energy. His attack becomes a whirlwind of slashes, his claws tearing through the air with incredible speed. A feral grin spreads across his face as he unleashes the full destructive power of his new arm. The tree trunk is instantly shredded, deep gouges marking the devastating impact of his claws. He decides to enhance his attack, infusing it with a swirling stream of poison. The tree is instantly coated in a corrosive poison, its bark dissolving under the vicious assault. He flashes a wild, triumphant grin, thrilled by the sheer destructive power now at his command.